Right. Good day, mate. Let's be absolutely honest with each other, just for a minute. You've read the books, you've listened to the podcasts, you've tried the healing journeys, you've downloaded the meditation apps, you've done all the things the endless self-help industry told you to do. And yet, what's the result? That deep, nagging feeling of insecurity. It's still there, isn't it? That quiet, grinding whisper that says there is something fundamentally wrong with me. You keep trying to fix yourself, to patch things up, but it feels like you're meticulously trying to paint over a crack in the wall while you know the foundations of the whole house are shaking. You're trying to fix a crack in a mirror when the whole room is vibrating. Look, there are a lot of channels out there that get inspired by Alan Watts. They give you nice poetic reassurances. This isn't one of those videos. This isn't inspiration. This is surgery. We are going to take a scalpel to the one book he wrote that deals with this precise feeling, The Wisdom of Insecurity. Because, mate, the reason you still feel broken is that most of the solutions you're being sold are flat out wrong. They're part of the problem, and it's exhausting, isn't it? If you're anything like me, maybe you're past 30 or 40, you're just tired. You're tired of running on this self-improvement treadmill, chasing this phantom idea of wholeness. You're tired of feeling guilty for not feeling healed yet, because you're doing the work. You are genuinely trying. You're facing your past. You're trying to be mindful. You're trying to forgive yourself for things that happened years ago. But the anxiety, the guilt, the feeling of not enoughness just seems to find a new way in. It feels like a betrayal. You think, I've tried so damn hard. Why am I still so anxious? Why do I still feel this insecurity? Here's the truth I had to learn the hard way, and it's the core of what we're talking about today. The problem isn't that you're using the wrong tools to fix yourself. The problem is that you're trying to fix yourself at all. Why? Because, mate, we have all been sold a massive, fundamental lie about what happiness and security even are. And this lie is everywhere. It's the background noise of our entire lives. Society, our education system, marketing, and, yeah, I'm saying it, mate, a huge chunk of the modern self-help industry. They are all built on one single shaky foundation. You are not yet complete. It's a sales pitch. You need to be more secure. You need to be more productive. You need to fix your trauma, heal your inner child, manifest your future, and then, only then, if you buy the right product or do the right 10-step program, then you will finally be given permission to be happy, to be at peace. It is, as Watts would say, a promissory note. It's a check for happiness, dated for some time in the future, that you can never, ever cash, because as soon as you fix one thing, the mind, the ego, immediately finds something else that's broken. It's an unwinnable game. It's a setup, because it treats your entire life, your one wild, precious life, as a problem to be solved, rather than what it actually is, a reality to be lived. Alan Watts had this brilliant analogy for it. He called it the carrot on a stick. From the day we're born, we're taught to live for a future that never arrives. Think about it. First, you have to get through kindergarten to get to primary school. Then you have to endure primary school to get to high school. Then it's all about getting into university. Then you've got to get the job. Then you've got to get the promotion. Then you've got to save for the house. Then you've got to save for retirement. And we live this whole time, as he put it, in justified discontent. We tell ourselves it's okay to be miserable now because of the reward that's coming later. But then you get there. You get the degree. You get the house. You finally retire. And what do you find? You find an old, tired person, and the anxiety, the fundamental insecurity, it's still there. Because the goalpost just moved again. Why do we fall for this? Why do we keep running on this hamster wheel? Because we've been taught that the highest good in life is security, safety, permanence. We are terrified of uncertainty. We are terrified of pain. We are terrified of death. So we spend our entire lives trying to build a fortress of security around ourselves, a fortress made of money, achievements, beliefs, and fixed personalities. And here is the punchline, mate. Here is the core of the wisdom of insecurity. That very security we are all desperately chasing. It's the biggest illusion of them all. Trying to be secure in a universe that is, by its very nature, constant change. That's not a solution. That is the definition of insanity. It is the source of your anxiety. It's you trying to build a solid rock fortress on top of a raging river. You're not fighting insecurity. You're fighting reality. So, if society is wrong, and the entire quest for security is the trap itself, what's the alternative? What's the solution? This, my friend, is where Alan Watts flips the entire chessboard. And I'm warning you, what's coming next? This is the bit that might just break your brain in the best possible way. All right, so here it is, the big flip, the brain breaker from the wisdom of insecurity. Here is the real reason you cannot fix your insecurity. Are you ready for this? It's because insecurity is the nature of life. That's it. That's the punchline. It's not a bug, mate. It's the feature. Let's really drill down into this, because this is where we separate the real wisdom from the fluff. Alan Watts argues, brilliantly, that life is flow, life is change, life is movement. The entire universe, from a distant nebula to the cells in your own body, is a constant, unpredictable, vibrating, chaotic dance. It is not, by nature, stable, permanent, or secure. The only reason you feel insecure is because you are clinging to the ridiculous idea sold to us by society that you should be secure. You're exhausted from trying to fix yourself. Of course you are, mate. You are literally trying to fight the entire current of the cosmos. You are trying to build a fortress on top of a wave. You're trying to nail jelly to a wall. It's a fool's errand, and it's the source of all your suffering. You feel insecure not because you're broken, but because you are alive and awake enough to notice that things are in fact not permanent. But here is the part that most of those fluffy inspiration channels completely miss. They stop at accept the flow, which is a nice poetic phrase, but it's useless when you're having a 3 a.m. panic attack. They don't give you the why. They miss the most profound part of the surgery. It's not just that the world is insecure, it's that the you, the self you're trying so desperately to fix isn't what you think it is. This I, this me, this ego that you carry around. The thing that feels all the guilt and the shame and the insecurity. What is it? Watts points out that it's not a thing. It's not a solid entity. It's a concept. It's a collection of memories. It's a bundle of neurological habits and muscular tensions. It's a story you tell yourself about who you are based entirely on yesterday. He used a brilliant analogy. The ego is like the wake of a ship. The wake is real. You can see it. But it has no power. It can't steer the ship. It has no life of its own. It is just a trail of water left behind, showing where the ship has been. But we spend our entire lives trying to steer the wake. We are obsessed with the me of yesterday, trying to fix its story, trying to make it look better, trying to patch its holes, all while the ship, the real you, the living organism in the present moment, is already plowing ahead into new water. Here's another way to see it. The self is like a handful of water. The tighter you clench your fist to hold onto it, to secure it, to define it, to fix it, the faster it slips through your fingers and disappears. So, here is the paradox. This is the absolute core of it all. You cannot fix the self. You cannot fix your insecure ego. Why? Because the very act of trying to fix it is the ego itself. The fixer is the broken part. The me that says I am insecure and I must fix myself is the very same me that is the feeling of insecurity. It's the same mechanism. It's the ego trying to reinforce its own existence by pretending to be in control, by giving itself a new project. Project Fix Me. It is, in Watts's famous phrase, the dog, spinning in circles, desperately and anxiously trying to bite its own tail. And that is why you're so tired, mate. That's why you feel broken. That's why you can't win. You have been stuck in this impossible, frantic, self-created loop, trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist, with a self that isn't even real. Okay, that's a lot. That's the core of the surgery. Let's just let that breathe for a second. This is a massive concept, so just let it sink in. And I want to ask you something really personal. I've been through this, and I bet you have too. What was that moment, that click, when you first realized that trying harder to fix yourself was actually making you feel worse? When did you first notice the dog was chasing its tail? Drop that story in the comments, mate. We've all been there. It's how we know we're on the right track. So, we've done the surgery, we've diagnosed the real problem. The question is, what now? If we can't fix ourselves, what the hell do we do instead? Right? This is the what now moment. This is where we separate the practical, applied Alan Watts from the poetic, inspirational fluff. Because, okay, we've had the surgery, we've pulled the curtain back, we've agreed that we're not going to fix ourselves anymore. We're going to accept the insecurity. We're going to stop trying. Fantastic. Wonderful. It sounds great on a t-shirt, but how the hell do you actually do that when it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're staring at the ceiling, your heart is pounding, and your mind is screaming at you that you are a failure and everything is falling apart? How do you accept that? This is where those other channels go thin, Mate. This is their abstract solution problem. They'll give you a beautiful poetic metaphor. They'll tell you to just be the river, or fall free into the present, or float like a cloud. Rubbish. That is a description of the result, not the method. You don't need a poem when you're having an anxiety attack. You need a tool. So here are the tools. This is Alan Watts. Applied. Technique number 1. Stop trying to float. This is the practical application of his most famous concept, the backward law. He pointed this out constantly. The more you try to force something, the more it eludes you. Try to force yourself to fall asleep, and you'll be wide awake all night. Try to force yourself to not be anxious, and you've just created a second layer of anxiety. You're now anxious about being anxious. You're now fighting a war on 2 fronts, and you're guaranteed to lose. So, the solution, based on the backward law, is beautifully simple. Stop trying to float, just sink. The moment you feel that wave of insecurity or anxiety, your fixer, your ego, instantly kicks in and starts treading water frantically. No, this is bad. I must not feel this. I must fix this. The practical technique is to do the opposite. Let it be there. Let the feeling wash right over you. Let it in. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to rationalize it. Don't try to breathe it away. Just observe it. Get curious about it. Where is it in your body? Is it a tightness in your chest? Is it a hot feeling in your stomach? Is it a vibration in your hands? Just feel it, without judgment, without the label bad or wrong. Here is the magic. This is the paradox. The very instant you stop fighting the feeling, the instant you give it full permission to be there, it starts to lose its power. It loses its charge. You stop feeding the monster, and it begins to starve. You stop trying to float, and you realize you're lying on the bottom. And it's fine. Technique number 2. Stop analyzing the music. Watts used this analogy all the time. You cannot truly listen to a piece of music and simultaneously analyze it. You are either in the experience of hearing the notes, or you are in the thought process about the notes. Oh, that's a C sharp. The drummer is a bit off time. I wonder what this song is about. You cannot do both at the same time. Your anxiety, your insecurity, it's the same. The feeling of insecurity is just a feeling. It's just raw data. It's energy. It's the music. The suffering, the problem, is the analysis. It's the fixer in your head that instantly jumps in and starts thinking about the music. Oh God, this is that anxiety song again. This is bad. I hate this song. I need to fix it. Why is this playing? What does this mean about me? That is the suffering. That is the dog chasing its tail. The practical solution? Stop analyzing. Just listen. Stop thinking about the anxiety and just feel it. Listen to it as if it's a loud, strange, intense piece of music. Let it play. Let it pass through you. This is what those poetic channels mean when they say be the sky, not the cloud. but they never tell you how. This is how. You are not the anxiety. You are the space in which the anxiety is happening. You are the consciousness that is observing the strange music. The music plays, the cloud floats by. It's not you, it's just an event. Let it happen. And eventually, it will pass. Look, this isn't a one-and-done solution. This isn't a quick fix. This is the real work. It's a daily, moment-to-moment practice of catching the fixer and choosing to sink instead. It's the practice of unlearning a lifetime of bad habits. It's not easy. It's not bliss and floating on clouds. But it is freedom. And when you finally, truly, let go of this desperate, exhausting internal war, you don't find that security you thought you wanted. You don't find security. You find something infinitely better. You find this. You find the present. You stop living in your head, in that imaginary future of what-ifs, or that imaginary past of if-onlys. And you finally arrive in the only place that has ever actually existed. Right here, right now. You stop trying to control the river, and you finally learn how to be the river. You find the process. So here it is, mate. This is the final truth. This is the absolution. If you take away only one thing from our chat today, please, let it be this. You are not broken. You are not a work in progress that's failing inspection. You are not a problem that needs to be solved. You are not a fixer-upper. You are a process. You are a function of this entire wild, magnificent universe. You are the cosmos itself, experiencing itself in this temporary form. That insecurity you feel, that anxiety, that is not a mistake. It is not a bug in your code. It is a feature. It's the rumble of the engines. It's the static from the stars. It is the non-negotiable, terrifying, and utterly beautiful sign that you are alive. It is the proof that you are awake enough to feel the truth, that life is change, that life is a dance. So here is the permission that you've been waiting for someone to give you. Here is the final message of Alan Watts, boiled down to its absolute core. Stop trying to fix yourself. You were never broken. You have always been, and you are, right now, in this very second, completely, perfectly, and utterly whole. If this video helped lift even a little of that impossible weight off your shoulders today, do me a solid, mate, and just tap the like button. It lets me know that this is the direction we need to be going in together. And look, we all have that one mate, the one who is just exhausted from trying to fix themselves, the one who's read all the books and is still in pain. Be a good mate. Share this video with them. It might just be the permission they've been waiting for, the permission to finally just breathe. I'm the mindful mate, and this is Alan Watts Echoes. We're not here for the easy, comfortable answers. We're here for the real ones. If that sounds like your cup of tea, hit subscribe and join the journey. Cheers, mate.